I had one question. You mentioned a lot of statistics that are on this sheet about how many women are insured and so forth. Do you know you're actually or anecdotally anyone who has lived, survived, who might not have had they not been covered because of this? In other words, are there women who are alive today because they were able to be insured who might not be otherwise? I know that's maybe anecdotal more than anything else, but it seems like it could be a practical result.
Right. I don't have that like top of the mind, women, but certainly in our healthcare practice, you are this woman.
I'm an HPV survivor. I got cervical cancer in my 60s, pre-consisting, and if I had not had my insurance, I wouldn't have had my pap smears, and I have now had a hysterectomy because it was being invasive. So yes.
I also talk to a lot of Kent State. I represent the district with Kent State University, and there are a lot of young women there who have been nervous in the past about graduating and losing their health insurance, while a lot of young people today are kind of piecing together employment with part-time jobs that don't provide health care benefits. And many of them have expressed gratitude and relief for the provision that allows young adults to be covered through their parents' insurance. And I guarantee I could find you some people in my area who have, caught health problems that could have turned into life-threatening issues if this provision from Obamacare had not been in place.
And I actually recently was just talking to someone who had the opposite issue. Prior to Obamacare going into effect, she had skipped several regular pap smears and ended up with cancer when she did have insurance again. So had she caught it earlier, it would have been much better for her. She would have been in a lot better shape.
Well, I have another question. I am not the regular reporter for the Dispatch who covers this. My colleague Kathy Kandinsky is far better equipped to do it than I, but I cover more politics, and it does seem, and it has always seemed to me, that this fight is a lot more, from the other side anyway, about political opposition rather than practical opposition. Any thoughts from any of you on that? The politics versus the practical healthcare applications of the whole thing we're talking about.
I'll just jump in real quick and then I'll shoot it to you to say, women who come to Planned Parenthood don't come to make a political statement.
Stand real close to the microphone. Thank you.
I would love to stand close to the microphone. Women who come to Planned Parenthood don't come to make a political statement. They come for health care. And I think that's true about this law, that the people who are supporting it and the constituents in Ohio who need it aren't trying to make a political statement. They simply want to get health care. And that's where we'd like all of our elected officials to move to join us in simply getting Ohioans health care.
Stephanie, this pendulum seems to swing, just on Alan's note, though, back and forth. And now you've had several anti-Planned Parenthood bills that were signed into this budget. You see the attack on the health care law now. The pendulum seems to be going the other way. At what point is there pushback? Do you sense there will be pushback, where particularly those in the middle say they've gone too far?
Well, I actually think we're getting a lot of pushback right now as people are realizing what's happened in this last budget cycle, as we're out either speaking or talking to our supporters throughout the state. There is a rising horror in realizing what this governor and this group of legislators did to women in Ohio in this last budget cycle. And I think the really tragic consequence of this is that a year from now, when we start seeing really bad health outcomes like unintended pregnancy rates in our young people rising, cancer rates rising, that's when the real horror will set in, frankly, for all Ohioans. And I think that's when we'll see the pendulum come back, when we hopefully join together as reasonable Ohioans to say people need health care. It's that simple.
I just want to echo that I've just heard from constituents throughout my district and throughout the state, really, who can't believe what just happened in the state budget, the attacks on women's health care, and also that Congress has just voted for a 40th time to repeal Obamacare. I mean, we really need to stop this partisan politics, playing politics with women's health care, And I notice an increase in women who are really taking this notice on this attack on our health care, especially young women, college students who I think aren't always as politically engaged. They know about this attack on Planned Parenthood and on their rights to health care and to be healthy Ohioans. They're very concerned about it, and I think that they are ready to push back.